Time for the robotic vacuum. Have you guys ever seen a Roomba, one of those robots that cleans the floor and bounces back and forth and just doesn't hit a wall or something? You guys are gonna learn how to do that as well. Let's do this. So make sure you set your playground to the art canvas, which looks like this, and you're gonna make sure that your robot is able to bounce around without actually hitting the wall using a certain sensor. So the distance sensor is gonna be key in this challenge. Make sure that you're aware that in the art canvas, 20 millimeters is each one of those little blocks. We're using this canvas because the blocks are smaller, which means you can do more precise movements as opposed to those big 200 by 200 blocks. You're also going to need to use the less than block in the operators category, which looks like this. So if we scroll down to operators over here, you're going to notice these are all in green. And the less than block is one that's going to be very helpful because we want something to happen when it gets to less than a certain distance. So that less than is going to be when it hits the wall. Or like doesn't hit the wall. So level 1 wants you to program it so it moves like a vacuum. You want to use the distance sensing blocks to make it so that when it almost hits, it goes to in reverse. So it senses the walls of the playgrounds and doesn't actually hit them. And for this challenge, I want it to move forever because like you don't want the Roomba to turn off until you turn it off. So it wants to keep going around. So you're going to have to, under control, figure out which of these blocks are appropriate. So look through all the C blocks and figure out which one's right for you to make sure the robot goes around forever. And just to keep in mind, if this was a real house, you wouldn't want it just to hit the same spots over and over. So you'd want to have to find a way to get every spots. So in order to make sure that you hit more spots, we're going to have to use a variable. So let's take a look at step number 2. So level 2 wants you to move using a variable to set the thresholds for the distance sensor. In other words, we're using this variable block to allow the robot to turn at different amounts after each movement. So it hits more places and cleans for you. So to do this, you're going to go to variables over here, and we're going to use the set distance variable over here. We're going to grab this and we're going to start the program over here. And we can set this distance to whatever we want, but keep in mind this distance is going to be how close we want it to get to the wall. So knowing that each block is 20 millimeters, if we set this block to 20, it would just barely not hit. Now keep in mind, a couple lessons ago, we did learn about something called a bumper switch. So sometimes we do want it to hit, but in this case we don't because we don't want a robot to break and crash. So after we set the distance, we want to use a C block for however many times or forever we want it to happen, and then inside the forever block we're going to make it drive forward. So as of right now, he's going to drive forward forever. So let's see what that looks like. Is he going to crash? Is he going to crash? Did he crash? Oh yeah, he did. The reason he crashed is because there's no condition that said once the distance is 20, do something. So we need to put that part in. So we need to go to a wait until, which is one of the controls. So we're going to take an operator, the one that we used earlier, and it's going to tell us that we want, put that little guy in that block over there, come on, and there we go. So we want to wait until something happens. Well, our distance over here is 20. So when we click on variables, we can just take the distance, and we can, instead of 50, we can set this to. Put the distance inside, and now it will just go to 20. We're now going to use the distance sensor over here, go to sensing, and we're going to go down to distance in millimeters, and we can drag this guy into here. Boom. So, and he's still driving. So let's see what happens once we've added that. Now, he's going to go, and he's waiting until we're at that distance. And then when he notices that super small distance, he still crashes. Ah! But obviously, because we still haven't told him once you sense it to do something. I mean, the sensor is not going to do anything. It's just going to tell you, hey, too late. So we have to go change something. But this is the part I'm not going to tell you. So this is the final step. I want you to figure out what to do to make him keep bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. But I'll give you a clue. Inside the forever C block over here, you want something right after the wait until, but it has to stay inside of this forever C block. You got this. And finally, the last challenge for the week, level 3. So for level 3, you want to vacuum the whole room or the whole table or whatever you're calling this. So your hint is you want to use random blocks to change how much the VR robot turns when it senses a wall. And you're going to use the pen to do so. So for this challenge, you probably want it to go as fast as you can. You want to set that distance, you want to mark that pen down, and in that forever block, you're going to program that robot. And when you're done, it should look something like this. Let's see how we do. Let's see which way he's going to go this time. Oh, he chose that way. Ooh. He's going this way. Oh, he's going this way. And you can see every time he's going such a random turn. As he goes, your only and last hint for this challenge is when you're turning, you want to use the pick random, which is under the operators over here. And this pick random variable over here can be dropped inside over here, and then you can decide how many degrees you want it to turn, and then it will try and cover the whole table. So your goal is to make sure you hit every block. You don't have to, black the whole thing out, but if you hit every block, you've succeeded. So this guy should be pretty fun. You got this. Good luck.